We'll do Vegas, invest in yourself. Then we'll do the two kids. The kids.
Yep.
Kids and no kids.
Kids and no kids.
Kids and no kids.
RGs and my poor children.
I think a lot of them are thinking.
I know. But it's okay. I want to kind of get your thoughts. I think we won't go that deep, but...
And then we'll do World War III after that.
Dad's house.
Dad's house.
Dad's house.
Welcome to Dad's House Podcast.
All right. So let's get into this. Ernesto, I'm Drake. You are Savage 21. You know why Savage 21?
No.
Because this is episode 21. 21. Can you do something for me? We need to become rappers, bro.
No, we don't.
By the way, Tupac, they just solved this murder or they arrested.
They solved that murder a long time ago. It's just now getting pressed.
Can I be honest with you?
Yeah.
You know, I don't think there's a bigger Tupac fan out there in the world
Than yourself.
that surpasses me. But this whole news that broke last week, you know, the day that we shot last week, it broke that day that, you know, they arrested Chief Keef or Keef D, whatever his name, Keef D. I think there's another rapper, right? For his murder. I have not read one article. I have not watched one episode on YouTube of anything about it. I no longer care. 27 years.
I'll tell you what I know of it is the Keef D's involvement has been known for years.
Yeah.
The cops have always pointed to him.
Right.
The actual trigger man died. He died. I forget. I think he died in an accident. I don't think he was killed.
Orlando.
I don't know his name. But I do know that
he got shot on the street.
Was, and I'll throw a curveball at you right now since you haven't read up on it. I do know that Keef D was probably in the car by his own admission, and he was probably asked to, by contract, kill Tupac by P. Diddy.
Biggie.
No,
I know.
yes.
So again, 27 years later, I saw that headline yesterday. You know, he throws P. Diddy under the. I don't care. It's 27 years later.
I care. What are you talking about?
I miss Tupac. His legacy moves on. His great records move on. The movies are classics now.
Yeah.
I don't care. The LAPD.
It's not a big deal that P. Diddy may have asked him to do it.
I don't know if I buy it.
By
the way, you know what this funny 50 Cent was trolling. Hey, this guy better learn up. I thought it was funny. So it's not that I don't care. It's just it's 20 years later. You know, I cared.
I'll be honest with you. I still feel the pain of Tupac not being around. That's a weird thing to say, I'm sure, but
with that said, if it's Puff Daddy, P. Diddy that did, where's the proof? Can you think this guy's holding proof 28 years after the fact?
The way he tells the story, and there's actually a recording out there of him incriminating essentially P. Diddy. That recording would assume that there were people in the room when P. Diddy said, take this guy out for me. And then later there's a subsequent conversation. They go downstairs. They're at some, I forget what it is, a restaurant, I think. They go downstairs in the restaurant, and then P. Diddy has a personal conversation with him, and they essentially seal the deal in that moment.
I'm all about evidence. And I watch a lot of crime detective shows, and that's my favorite thing, like when I get home.
I don't think that P. Diddy's going to be indicted because I think it's going to be a he said versus he said thing. But
so speaking of curveballs, here's a curveball.
Yeah.
Ernesto, Hector, behind the camera here. You know, I was trying to do everything. I didn't tell you guys. I was trying to get out of this, us shooting this videos today.
What? Why?
You know, being a married man with 5 kids, I don't have a lot of like time at my house when there's nobody there.
Yeah.
Do you know where I'm going with this story?
I hope not. I hope I don't know.
Yeah. So I don't have a lot of like me time.
Yes.
When I say me time, I mean me and my wife time. Right? There's always
That's
somebody.
different than me time.
Well, no, I mean me with the wife time, right?
Yes.
My kids are always there. I have a son. You know, he's in the music industry, and he records and works from his studio in our home.
Oh, he does.
He built his studio in his room, and that mother sucker's always home. So I can never get some.
There's no outside lock on his studio, or you could just
motherfucker's like no, that motherfucker's like 20 feet from me. Or maybe 30 feet from my door. So with that said, I just heard my wife was like, hey, my wife's like me. You know, anyways, my wife's like me. She knew that nobody was going to be home. She goes, hey, 12 to 1, no one's going to be at the house.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. But I'm like, babe, not only do we have to shoot with Hector and Ernesto, leave me here. We have to wrap up because about 12:20, I have she has to go with me. We have an appointment in Glendora at 1 o'clock, a mastermind.
I see.
So timing that's just not, it's not on my favorite today.
Ask me if I feel bad.
Do you feel bad?
No, I don't.
Then I can, yeah. So welcome to Dad's house with that intro. Tupac and
Episode 21.
Jose can't go home. Anyway, so today I want to cover a couple things. Best investment that a person can do. Is it property? Is it gold? Is it, what is that? Number 2, I really want to cover this. I don't know how much, how in depth we can go, but 2 of my children, I have 5 kids. 2 of my kids have told me I do not want to have children, and I'm like, oh my God, did I screw up? Our bloodline with our children because they don't want to have. Did I do something wrong? Are they jaded because I raised our kids with 5 kids? Well, 5 total kids plus dog, and now they realize like, man, having kids is a mother.
We'll talk about it.
I feel kind of jaded. I feel bad because I'm thinking I probably created that. Maybe I did. Maybe I didn't. I don't know. By the way, we just got back from Vegas.
Yeah, fantastic conference.
I've realized this. Coming back from Vegas, I believe that right now, 2023, fourth quarter, is the best time to be a loan officer.
Agreed.
Is it because of Vegas? Did you believe that before Vegas?
So Vegas kind of sealed the deal for me, but I came into this business right as the 2006, 7, 8, 9 collapse was about to happen.
Yes, me too.
The guy that I came into this business, with, the guy that taught me the business, he told me straight out, he's like, you're coming in at the worst possible time, but if you make it, and I remember him clearly saying, if you make it, nobody will ever take you out. Nobody will ever take you out.
Mindset.
Exactly. So he set the tone for me in the business, and I think right now is, I don't want to say probably a better opportunity than it was for me in 2006, late 2006, because I didn't know a damn thing. I didn't know. He's like, okay, well, this is a challenge to me. I want to know this business. I want to get my feet wet. I want to get my systems grounded and understand well, so that when things turn around, I'll be well positioned. And that's exactly what happened.
Yeah. So I realized a couple of things. It was a mortgage conference that we both went to, and it was 3,000 other mortgage professionals.
Yeah.
I mean, most of these guys are down 60, 70, 80% in their business year over year, and they're still investing. 3,000 of them are still investing, hotel, airfare.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, that's not cheap.
Time.
3-4 days, a 4-day conference.
Right.
3 to 4 day conference. Drinks are $15 at the bar. A beer is $15 at the bar.
Beer.
Cheap. So it is not a cheap conference, right? The Paris Hotel. I mean, I think my hotel bill was like $1,200. So I can only imagine the level of commitment from these 3,000 people to be that vested in their career, in their business, and be there in the worst time as far as, I've experienced.
What people outside of that room would have said is the worst time.
Correct.
But guess what? I think a lot of the people, most of the people that showed up to that conference are aligned in thinking the best is right around the corner.
Best is yet to come.
Yeah.
And I left with that mindset. Oh, man, this is an amazing time to be a loan officer. If you're surviving right now and you're out there, shooting for the moon, putting systems in place, getting your operations in place, knowing how to market yourself like a professional, that I believe the payoff, the fruition is going to come in the next, and I don't even know if that's the right word, but that all that is going to pay off in the next 12 to 18 months.
Agreed.
With that said, AIME conference,
it'll pay off. Just to expand a little bit on that thought, it'll pay off. And it's going to pay off for a lot more people than are in the business right now.
Yeah.
This is the key for those of us that are in the business right now, making it, pushing it, try to do the best that we can in a tough environment, right? It's going to pay off. If we sharpen our sword, if we prepare ourselves, then what's going to happen is naturally a bunch of people who have no business being in the business are going to come back to the business. Some of them are already left. They're going to come back to the business, and they're going to represent competition for you. So the low-hanging fruit, some of it's going to go to them.
Sure.
You have to be positioned to grab a lot more of that low-hanging fruit. And on top of that, you have to have enough of a sharp sword to have your marketing in place, to have your follow-ups in place, to have your processing in place. All that stuff being in place, you're going to be in a position to absorb so much more business than the people that are just going to come in cold again.
So let me ask you, we were in Vegas Thursday through late Saturday. Did the wife give you any shit?
No.
When you got back to your house?
No. Why would it?
No. Well, I'm asking that for a reason. My wife, who I love dearly, and I was trying to escape this podcast so I could go do the boom, let's get it on. I don't know who sings that song, but that's not happening.
Marvin Gaye sings that
Marvin
song.
Gaye.
You really
Gaye.
should
Shout out to Marvin Gaye.
Yes.
Bro, I'm a Jay-Z Tupac fan, so
Then you should be a Marvin Gaye.
I should.
They're Marvin Gaye fans.
Yeah, they are, but I'm not. With that said, the wife was like, "This is the last time that you go to Las Vegas by yourself on a boys trip." I don't know what she pictures. I think she pictures like us hanging out,
Yeah.
Like at the club.
Yeah.
Till 3, 4 in the morning. We went home like at 2:30 in the morning.
We didn't even do that.
Well, I did.
Oh, you did the first night. Yeah.
Twice. And maybe hanging out at the bar all day instead of being in the conference. I came back with 5 pages of notes. Like I was a nerd squad, nerd taker, not a nerd taker, note taker
Right.
Of data and information. I'm excited for the near future.
I'm going to tell you something. There was the group of people that we hung out with and met through that group of people. That by itself was worth it.
Yeah, I agree.
The time inside the actual conference also worth it.
Yeah.
The people that you got to kind of learn from and be around, whether it was over a drink or whether it was in the conference or whether it was in the other room where they have all the
networking.
all that stuff was so worth it. I came back so juiced up from
Yeah, and I'm glad that you went. This is my second time being at this AIME conference, first time for you. And by the way, did you become a member officially or no?
Yes, I actually. Well, not officially, no, but I have all the stuff ready on my.
Oh, you're gonna become one. Yeah. So, friends, that's our free public service announcement.
Yeah.
Best conference that I've participated in probably the last 2-3 years. It's a mortgage conference. I enjoy it as a realtor.
We're not even talking about
one
of my favorite parts, which was the chief economist from Fannie Mae got up there and said a bunch of stuff.
Yeah,
I took a lot of notes.
I agree. All right. So with that said, let's lead it into the kids part, man. The kids. So I have two of my kids. One of my daughters and one of my sons. He goes, man, I don't ever want to have kids. I want to.
Which son, if you don't mind me asking?
One of the twins.
One of the twins.
One of the twins says, I'm never having kids. The other kid is like, he's a ladies' man. He thinks it's like you just had kids and you don't have to take care of them, I think.
Yeah.
He goes, I want to have
a kid over there.
Yeah, he goes, I'm going to have like 10, 12 kids. I'm like, bro.
Okay.
Trust me. Check in with me when you have 2.
Right.
Because they're a handful. But my oldest daughter and and one of the twins have basically said, nah, I don't know if I want kids. I'm not interested in it. It's not something that I'm even like forecasting. I'm gonna have no kids. I'm gonna have a cat, a dog, pets, but no kids. I'm like, oh my God, I raised a cat lady.
What was the why?
I believe, again, I didn't really dissect it because they feel how they feel right now at this age.
Yeah.
You know, I'm gonna not reevaluate, but we're gonna revisit the conversation over dinner and throughout the years. But I really believe it's probably they grew up in a busy household. We're always on the run. You know, like I'll get home at 4:30 only to leave at 5:30. And I get home, hey, you know, move your laundry basket, get ready for dinner. Hey, you know, do your bed. Let's go. I'm always, let's go. I'm always yelling and screaming. I feel like that might be a piece of it. On the weekend, our kids are either playing soccer, going to the movies, you know, going out with the friends, you know, dropping them off. Me and Vanessa have, you know, events, parties, baby showers to participate. They're always having to be, you know, go along for the ride. I really believe there's a piece to our lifestyle that they're like, I just want to relax. Children are a lot of work, and I know that they know that, and it is, of course.
Do you believe so? I asked, by the way, when you told me that you wanted to do this as a segment, right away I texted my kids because I know the feeling she had. One of them, my youngest, has on having kids, and my understanding was no kids. My oldest one, I hadn't really asked her, but I kind of assumed that she probably would want to have kids down the road. Sure enough, she said maybe 2 kids. And then I asked them also, what do your friends think like you do?
Yeah.
Do your friends think like you do? She said no. She said she's got one of her best friends doesn't want to have kids at all. The other one max, right? My youngest, I asked her why don't you want to have kids, and she said because the career path she's choosing is going to take her a long time to get established in, or it's going to require a lot of effort. She's basically not going to have time for kids. Not going to have time for kids. She said she may consider it later, but there's no immediate.
And by the way, I truly believe that a lot of that will change when they meet the right partner.
Possibly,
right?
Possibly.
It could.
My youngest has been saying no kids for a while though, so I think she's got that as kind of a starting point where maybe a lot of people in our generation would say, yeah, sure, I want to have kids as kind of a starting point, and then something else might change their mind. She started off always saying, I don't want kids. So I think just taking it, looking at it from a macro level, the population in the U.S. I believe is declining. Right? And people are not having enough kids to replace themselves. In other words, to maintain our population size.
And it's funny because like my business coach, he's all about what's the right word? Procreating?
procreating.
I mean, I think he said on his podcast, man, if I could have 10 kids, he would, right? If his wife would give him 10 kids. I mean, I think he's at 4 now. I've never really thought about that. I grew up. I'm the middle child, so there's 3 of us in my family. All I knew was this: if and when I had kids, I was not gonna have 3, either 4 or 2. Or, that was always gonna be the
an even number. You want an even?
Yeah, and I still ended up with 5. Right? Again, we're a blended family, like a Brady bunch. But I really believe, my thought that as I walked, from the last week. Around the house and here at the office, it's like, did I ruin these 2 children with Jade? I don't think I did.
I bet you if you ask them what factors into that decision, I bet you some of them, maybe you, I don't know.
Yeah.
But I bet you they're going to say kind of like the environment that they're going to raise them.
I believe it. And my youngest daughter, she was very gung-ho. I want 2 kids and I want 4 cats and 2 dogs and a turtle and reptile. She's the one that wants to be a veterinarian. But she wants cats. And I said, why cats? I'm not a cat person. Don't cancel me for that, guys, please. But she was very adamant that she wants cats because I've never had cats. I'm like, okay, that's fair. That's fair. You do realize I'm allergic to cats, right, babe? She goes, yeah.
Why you coming in?
That's exactly what I thought about. She goes, well, you could visit it in the back patio, Dad. They're so low.
Oh, wow. So I'll tell you what, we have two, and one of the determining factors for why we had 2, number one, we had talked about having a few, like 4 or 5 kids or whatever. I remember those early conversations, but we landed at 2 in part on my side because one of my brothers-in-law said, I'm only going to have 3 kids. He said that to me once, and I was like, why are you stopping at 3 kids? He goes, because I think my economy, not money, my economy of attention, my economy of time, that's as much as I can give and feel like I'm being fair. Yeah, good. However you want to put it. And that made a ton of sense to me. So when my wife decided, that probably wanted to stop at 2, I was like right on board with it because I felt the same. I live a busy life, and I know the type of person I am outside of the house.
Yeah.
A busy person outside the house. So I want to make sure that I have enough time to give to my kids.
Yeah, no. So with that said, it's I'm making a very conscious effort now on the weekends. I'm usually off.
I see that with you guys. I see that.
We're usually off Saturday and Sunday, and those weekends I'm making a very conscious effort with the 3 younger ones. They're all in high school to make them go to the events, go grab sushi, so we can have conversations. Not sushi, but go have lunch with them, a good lunch, so they could see what it's like not always dealing with busy mom, busy dad.
Yeah.
Like we're off. You have our attention. Not our attention, but we're here, we're conscious, we're having good conversation, and that's where I discover a lot of these things. Their boyfriend, their girlfriend, their I don't like boys. I think they still smell. So I'm still dealing with that with the youngest, which is cool. I like that. She's 15. Yeah, she's 15, and she has a 0.
Hang on to that for a
second. No, I man,
boys do smell. They're horrible.
Yeah. So I'm enjoying that, and she's a baby, so she's a small one. So I'm still enjoying that to the highest regard. But with that, the boys are girl crazy. One of them is girl crazy. It seems like he has a new girlfriend every other week. I just gave him a check for $190 to go to homecoming. I'm like, wait. Is this 1 ticket or 2 tickets? He goes, oh, that's for 2 tickets. I'm like, whoa. How am I paying for your girlfriend to go to homecoming? I'm not kissing her. I'm not hanging out with a girl.
Have you seen all the effort that boys have to go through now to ask somebody at homecoming?
Well, yeah, he did all that. He did this sign that which the sister, one of my daughters created with him for him. I think she did all the work. I think he paid her $5 or $10, to cut out all the letters, and it was like a dual. At least he's leveraged.
So the production was there, but it was a joint production.
It was not a joint. He basically paid for the whole production. For my daughter. My daughter's a creative one. She likes art. So, she went and created this whole thing. And it was a 2-for-1 special, apparently. Because on one side is where you go to homecoming with me. And the second, on the back side, I think it said something where you be my girlfriend. I'm like, bro, that's lazy. Are you kidding me? I mean.
It would have cost you more.
No, I understand. But I'm almost embarrassed that my son, one of the twins, that's how he asked a girl to be with her.
That's a great way to ask.
Really?
Yeah, why not?
On a freaking cardboard?
Why not? That's how they all do it.
How do it?
Like,
okay.
You nowadays you create the biggest possible production you can, have a fucking horse carriage and a light show if possible, and then the hook is you standing there like an idiot with a piece of cardboard that says something really cheesy. Like, they make it extremely cheesy. Like, whatever. I can't even think of one, but it'll say something like "Hoko with me" at the bottom.
How did you ask Vero to be your girlfriend? With a fucking sign?
No.
Did you text her?
No, I asked her out on a bunch of dates.
So you went out, hey, you want to go have lunch? You having dinner? You want to have...
Yeah. But we were adults, man.
Actually,
This is a high school thing.
Okay,
I think adults are doing this.
In high school, I don't know. Again, maybe you're right. Maybe I'm seeing it from the lens of a dad, 20 years after the fact, right?
Right.
I'm 43 now. But I expected a better way for him to, ask a girlfriend out. Like me.
He's doing it the way everybody's doing it. I don't think that's...
You want to know the most cheesiest way that I ever asked a girl?
What?
To be my girl?
Sure. This should be good.
Actually, I'm not going to share. The way that me and Vanessa got together, obviously, I was already a dad. I was 28 or 29 years old.
Yeah.
I told her a story. I was already single going through a divorce, right? And, one day, she was at an open house, and I went to visit the open house. Actually, I went to work the open house. And I basically told her, I was thinking about, I had a dream last night. She goes, all right, what was it? She was thinking it's like, cars or fucking,
right.
Something like that. I had a dream and you were in it. And then, so I got up and I went to the fridge and I got me some apple juice. But that was a cliffhanger. That's all I said. I just let her mind wander. What the fuck are you dreaming about me?
At first, my first reaction to that whole story was, really, that's the shit you said? But then there's a genius in that because
cliffhanger. The cliffhanger was a genius.
Yeah.
And for the rest of the day, the twinkle on her eye changed, bro. It was from a no twinkle to double twinkle. Like, what the fuck are you thinking about?
I want to know, yeah.
What does apple juice have to do with it?
Yeah.
And it had nothing to do with it except that I was craving apple juice at 2 or 3 in the morning whenever I got up. But with that said, in high school, I would ask my girls, like, I'd put my arm around, walk them to go get cookies and milk and all that bullshit, to our room, and I'd be like, hey, you're my girlfriend, right? That was my line. Hey, you're my girlfriend,
so
right?
You just kind of assumed the sale at that point.
But I've been a closer. Clearly, I've been a closer. Clearly. Bro, I didn't have no game. I didn't like the cardboard idea. So with that said, I shared how I picked up on my women's back in high school. How did you guys do it? Did you have a go-to plan, or was it, was it text? I don't know.
There is no plan in high school. That's the thing. And like, I mean, I remember making every damn thing up as I went along.
Yeah, me too.
Because it doesn't feel like a plan.
Yeah, me too.
Let's talk about something else, bro. Let's talk about investing. Jose, if I was to ask you, what is the best investment somebody can make? What is the best investment somebody can make? What is your...
Now, are we talking about
what's your answer to that question?
Okay. I mean, that's simple. The best investment anybody will ever make is in themselves. But what part of themselves, right? I mean, there's a physical aspect. There's a mental aspect. There's a understanding money aspect. There's the therapy aspect. To me, I really believe the best investment is you covering or studying yourself and knowing what your weak spots are. For me, I always overreacted. I was not an emotion, but I overreacted whenever it came to people blaming me. Like I never wanted to be the person at fault. I would come back 10x and blame my partner, blame my wife, blame my girlfriend, whatever. It was always your fault.
Defensive.
Very defensive, right? So I knew that was a weakness. When it came to business or real estate, I knew how to sell. I didn't know how to save. I knew how to sell, help 15 families in the beginning. 10, 15 families, how to buy a house, do a loan for them back in the day when you could do that. But I didn't know what to do with the money. Mm-hmm. I didn't have mentors that were investors. I didn't have rich uncles or family members. My father, my family have never really bought income property. So I lacked that knowledge. So for me, the best investment was surrounding myself. I started with books. Then from books, I started, I realized that I probably needed a mentor or a coach. So my business really did not take off until I hired my first my first broker owner coach. And that's what we called it. He's a broker and then owner of a brokerage, leader. And he taught me a lot. contests to have internally at the office. How to recruit, how to retain. I mean, tell me how to talk to them, how to dissect subjects and have trainings that actually mean something, as opposed to having some ancillary service come and talk about their agenda.
You could do NHD all day long,
right? And there's nothing wrong with NHD.
Nothing wrong, of course.
No, but again, it's your agents, your people are learning. They want chewable, dissectable pieces where they could take it apart and then go do something with it. To build their business. So,
for sure.
So I think that was the best investment for me.
So if I'm hearing you correctly, so there's a if you're going to take yourself on as an investment, with which I agree, by the way, you are the best investment that you can make. Period. Right. However, anybody at any stage in their life almost can follow that as a guide, and you have to be your first best investment. Most time has to go into you at first. Right. So, but you're saying, if I'm hearing you correctly, you have to have the investment in yourself to understand money. You have to have the investment in yourself to understand the personal part of it.
The weaknesses and we all have them. There's nothing wrong with admitting them. It's that person that's able to look at themselves in the mirror, have that conversation with their spouse, like, hey, honey, I'm a very jealous guy. I'm an asshole when I drink, I'm a fucking jerk. When I drink, I make bad choices. Or let's say, when I overreact with the children, I'm mean. Like, these are things that you have to, be open to accept and analyze with your whoever's around you. Like, my wife likes to say, and my wife, and everybody here knows my wife. She likes to say, Jose, you are so difficult to be around when you're on work mode and you're like, things are falling apart around you. Why? Because she says that not that I overreact, but that I'm a control freak. I want to solve, that I want to attack, that I want, again.
Are those that as a weakness?
No, I don't. But I listen to her, and I'm conscious of that when these situations arise, because my own life is chaotic. From one moment I could have a blissful, beautiful day like today, but leaving here or with my phone down, I might be dealing with a contract issue, the city problem. I may be dealing with a violation on one of my projects. I may be dealing with a agent leaving me our office or operation for various reasons, right? But how I react is what I can control. And I realize now, okay, cool. My goal is happiness every day. Wake up happy, go to sleep happy. We're going to deal with trials and tribulations and bullshit throughout the day. That's a given. Over this weekend, one of my children surprised me by not coming home. Like, what's the crap? All day. Yeah, exactly. Right? So guess what? There's repercussions to that. It could have ruined my day. I could have blown up as a dad, as a parent, but I did it. I reached out. I controlled the narrative, what I could. Reached out to the proper people. Hey, where is it at? Airdrop. I knew exactly where the person was. And I'm saying person because I'm not going to share, what child it was, what kid it was. So I went to that residence. 9:05. I'm a dad. What would you do?
Similar.
Anyways, got it taken care of. Realized why, they were partying, and probably couldn't drive that. And then I respect that. But where they dropped the ball, you didn't call me.
You didn't call.
You didn't let mom know. You didn't let somebody know. Hey, I messed up. And by the way, I've been there. And when I'm there, I wake up at 5 a.m. I'll put a alarm on my phone. I know I might be buzzed or drunk or whatever, but I'm sleeping in my car. I'll put an alarm at 5 a.m. because I want to wake up at 5 a.m. and be home by 6,
right?
Wherever the heck I am, right? I've done that plenty of times at my parents' house, and being a husband in my marriage. Like, hey, honey, I can't come home. I'm gonna sleep in this parking lot, and as soon as I wake up, I'll be home before you're up. Anyways, so I kind of say,
though, being the key.
That's the key, and that's what missed. And again, old Jose, old dad in that situation would have blown up, would have been a terrible weekend. Instead, we went to a couple art museums that day together as a family, had a great lunch, had great dinner, had great conversation. Like I like to say, no pasa nada.
There's a difference between handling it in a healthy way and handling it in a way that the old...
Yeah, but that has come from the strategies, the coaches, the books I've read. And I don't just read business books, right? Right now I'm reading the 5-second rule, right? So that, yes, as an entrepreneur talking about it, but I analyze a lot of things in 5 seconds. If it doesn't really matter after 5 seconds, You go and take action on what you're supposed to do. But I think that, again, there's various reasons. A lot of people believe, oh, you're successful because this. No, I'm successful because I was a jealous person. A lot of people don't know this. I'm going to share this on this podcast. You can actually make this a reel, Mr. Hector. My first marriage ended in divorce. You could say it was a bad divorce, but, it was probably one of the best things that could have happened to me because it allowed me to grow as a person. I got cheated on. Okay, great. Right? And there's some back and forth, she hold some resentment. I totally respect and understand that. Now, back then, I was finger pointing. It's you. She would, pull it back. But again, there's two sides to every story. With that said, she's in a great place. My ex, great relationship, new kids, has had a great, new babies and new family. So to me, I had to go through those trials and tribulations to become the person that I am. There's no way that I would appreciate my new marriage and my new relationships and even friendships with that if I didn't go through that. When I talk to some of my friends, my family, my agents that are going through, family issues, I've been through some family issues. If they ask for my advice, I can give firsthand account advice of how I survived it, how I beat, those trials, if you will. So, yeah, but it's not just business; it's personal, And I guess everybody has weaknesses. Look at yours, and then slowly but surely invest the time, the energy, whether it's books, whether it's friends, whether it's mentors, whether it's a coach in that area. There's so many coaches now. A lot of this shit's for free on YouTube. At least start with that and then take it deeper if you need it.
Agreed.
So,
best investment you can make, yourself.
100% yourself. All right. So with that said, Ernesto, I want to ask you a little bit about what's happening right now in the world, in the markets. There's a couple, inflation all-time high, rates all-time high, although the market's, volatile, coming up, coming down, Russia-Ukraine war, and the new one that's happening, the Gaza Strip, not Ukraine, it's Israel.
Israel, yeah.
And Hamas.
Hamas, yeah.
So I'm following it on the local channels, the CNN, the Fox News, on social media. But there's a big aspect that I'm not too familiar to why this war, why these innocent people are dying. What happened?
Yeah,
what's the reason?
The why, wow. That's a complicated answer for one, and I'm no expert on it. The why is very, very complicated. There's multiple thousands of years that go into the history of that particular region.
Yeah.
And for me, I narrow it down to land. Right. You have two groups that have, and I will cast some shit if the wrong people say this, but you have two groups that have legitimate claims to the land that they're battling over. You have great arguments for either and both to be in the area, and in fact, both have existed peacefully in that area in the past. I think one group presents the way that this semi-modern setup has come up since World War II. It basically transferred a lot of land that was at the time under the control of the Palestinians, was transferred over to create a Jewish state. Most of the world agreed that a Jewish state needed to exist, so that the Jews would have a go and have a real place to call home because they were scattered all over the world. But guess what? There were already people there, right? And so those people, I think, legitimately have a gripe around whether their land should have been taken or not. All right. Moreover, you have in this era, you had a time of, you can't call it relative peace. I don't think it's ever been peaceful.
Yeah.
They've always been at odds with each other. You have on the Gaza Strip. The Gaza Strip is essentially a prison. You can't do anything in the Gaza Strip. Come out, go in, have visitors. Do what a normal.
See, I didn't even know that.
Yeah,
I had no idea.
You don't have a normal state. You can't call it a normal state because it's essentially a prison that Israel controls. Right?
Israel controls it.
And
Hamas is situated.
Hamas is the governing body inside of the Gaza Strip.
Got it.
Right? There's another piece of Palestinian land called the West Bank. From my understanding, that area lives a little bit more peacefully, but still, they were governed by one entity in the past, the West Bank and the Gaza Strip. Then some years ago, you had Hamas jump in there as a political organization as well, and basically take over the politics in the Gaza Strip. All that to say, Hamas is the party that inflicted this latest round of violence upon Israel.
Yeah.
you can say that it was unwarranted. You can say whatever. But if you look at the history of the region, there's not a scrap of violence that you cannot attribute to actions from both sides.
Now, the thing that I have difficulty understanding, and this is why I kind of want to talk about it. Okay, so I've seen influencers. I'm thinking of a couple influencers. One of the Kardashians. I don't know if it was Jenner or one of the ladies, right? Got some flack for posting and supporting Israel, and then I've seen other ones getting flack for posting Free Palestine, right? Why is the response to these both cases so brutal with the responders? I don't understand.
I will tell you one of the reasons it makes me personally happy to be an American when I see that, because you can be vocal in this country in your support for one side or another, right? So the fact that you can be, that's one reason. The other side of it is truly Hamas has a real hate for the state of Israel. Its stated purpose is to eliminate it.
Wow.
To create in its place only a state for Arabs, Muslims. I don't know how that's proper phrasing. That's fact. And Israel has, you have to call it this, especially the people who rule Israel now, they have a hate for Palestinians, right? They would say differently maybe, but if you look at their actions, you don't cage people you like, period, right? You find a way to work with them. There's a guy that I follow on TikTok. He's a former, and his name is Stuart something, but he's a former professor at Duke University. He's written books. He's a Jewish man, but he has the best take on it of anybody that I've seen so far. His take on it is regardless of the past. This is not about the past. It's about today. It's about the present. You have something like 6 or 8 million Jews in that area.
Yeah.
You have something like 6 or 8 million Muslims, Arabs in that area, and they're not going anywhere. Those people are going to be there. One group is not going to drive the other group out. It's not going to happen. So coexistence is the answer. How you get to coexistence, peaceful coexistence, that's a whole other battle.
Is that possible in your opinion?
Sure, of course it was already the case.
Yeah.
You had peaceful coexistence before in the past.
So
right?
why did Hamas attack?
It's an excellent question. I can't tell you that I know the answer to it. I do know that you had Israel and Egypt were about to make not peace, but they were about to have formal ties with each other. That would have opened the floodgates that Iran, who backs Hamas, was not going to be okay with. So people speculate that Iran basically pushed Hamas to take the actions that they took to start this conflict so that it would disrupt somehow the Egyptian-Israeli relationship. That, who knows, to be honest with you. I'm not in the know about that.
Thank you for clarifying. There's a lot, I try to read as much as I can, but again, there's always not an agenda, but, depending on the article that I'm reading, I remember the Iran
I'll tell you, Hamas, from my understanding is Hamas is a 20,000 person organization. Like I said, there's 6 to 8 million Arabs Palestinians in that area. Yeah. And the Jewish state, at least for a couple of things that I've read, their actions also do not represent the majority of what Israelis want, right? You have two organizations that are on the small side doing things in the name of larger populations, when those larger populations may not even agree with that. That by itself tells you, whatever else it tells you, it should also tell you that there's space for those people who do or might represent the majority in each of those parties to kind of come together and say, hey, F this, man. We're going to be here. We got to find a way to peacefully coexist, and whatever it takes, we got to get there.
Now, you started in the military. What is a U.S. Response? What does President Biden do?
Yeah, I think the U.S. response is unfortunate, to be honest with you. Since he was a young senator, President Biden was very, very committed to the Israeli cause, right? To the establishment, defense, the backup of the Jewish state, right? And I think it's way too one-sided a position to be taking as the president of the United States. I wish he would see it more from a pragmatic standpoint, because fine, okay, you want to send an aircraft carrier group, which we have done. There you go. Fine. You want to send more help. You're going to send them more than the $250 billion we've given them for weapons since World War II. Fine. Do all of that. What are you going to solve? Nothing. You're going to solve nothing. You may deteriorate. You may diminish Hamas's military capability for XYZ number of years. Okay, great. Are you going to diminish the hate in the area? Are you going to make these people coexist peacefully in the area? Are you going to really solve a damn thing in the area by taking that step?
Is that going to antagonize
Of course it will.
Iran?
Of course it, yeah. Oh, Iran is a beneficiary of anything that happens moving forward.
Got it. Okay, so going back to Dad's house, your business is loans. Is there an underlying bubble that can happen because of the various wars that are happening in the world?
So
with the marketplace,
interestingly, with what's going on with the reaction, at least right now, some people are calling it this. Some people are saying out there that because of the instability in the world at the moment, there's what's called a flight to safety. A flight to safety, essentially, from a money standpoint, means that you're going to take money out of stocks, which are considered more risky, and you're going to divert more of it towards bonds, which are considered safer. The more people, just to keep it simple, the more people buy bonds, the lower our interest rates go.
Okay.
So where we were headed for 8s prior to this week starting, as this thing in Palestine and Israel got going, some people are interpreting that rates have held and even come down a little bit because there's a flight to safety. In other words, people are pushing money into bonds because they're safer investments. And that's the initial reaction. We had a huge inflation number right now. I think it was a manufacturers producers index came out today. I could be wrong on that, but there was a number that came out, and it was heavily I think the inflation rate was the highest it had been for that particular index since last year.
Wow.
Right? Okay, that's saying a lot. And still deflected that piece of news, which would have ordinarily, in this time, driven the rates up.
Yeah.
And because of this flight to safety, maybe they're saying that no, interest rates actually came down a little bit today.
I'll say this: it's a very interesting time. It's very sad watching innocent people, kidnapped and then killed, and the stories of I'm missing my son, missing my daughter. I haven't heard from them. Again, I like to consume the news, the world news. And when I see this, I wanted to get a better understanding. I knew that you would kind of be able to break it down for me. So thank you for sharing that.
Sure.
I know that you're not, leaning one way or other way, and nobody is. We're peaceful, and we're very peaceful, and we hope that it gets resolved. And again, I don't know the position.
I think that if wiser men stepped in, you might conclude that whatever our anger is right now, whatever we feel we have to do right now, there's still something else that we have to work towards, and that's working together to share this piece of land somehow.
Friends, with that said, we're going to wrap up episode 21, Dad's House.
That's pod?
I was going to say Dad's Podcast. Dad's House Podcast. Unscripted, off the cuff. We literally mentioned, hey, let's cover XYZ, and then we get behind the mic. With that, I hope you like it. Please subscribe. Please follow, share it with somebody that should be listening to us. We don't know everything about everything, but we have an opinion about
Pretty much
everything. All right, guys, have a good one. God bless.
Take care.
Dad's house.
Dad's house.
Dad's house.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe.